It's Friday, my dudes.
TGIF. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Iron Realm Media's Have No Fear. My name is Josh Corey. We have a very packed show. Lots of exciting things going on. We're going to start things off with Roxanne and Robin. We're going to get Brendan Daley in here. And Brendan is bringing a very special guest with him. He's going to be bringing Cynthia Holland, former NASA employee, here on the show to have a great conversation with us. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sure we and you all in chat are going to have lots of excellent questions for Cindy. I don't know. We'll do a little bit of catch up there on the backside. Maybe we'll see how long this show goes. We're hoping for 3, but we've been known to go 5. Stick around. It's going to be a good one, folks.
We are the way. We are the way. We are not alone. We are striving. Oh. We are way. We are not alone. We are striving.
Well, like I said, we do have a huge show ahead of us. So I just want to jump right in and say hello to the fellas. One, Mr. Zachary Zabala, the nomad, Mr. Too Nice for Rice himself. How's your hands doing, Zach? Are they good and dirty?
They're somewhat clean. I mean, kind of, sort of, I guess. It's been an awesome day. Getting everything all cleaned up back here for the garden. It's looking like a garden now, so I'm getting excited. I actually get to plant a little bit of seeds here, like tonight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited. It's getting to be that time. So it was a great day. Burn leaves all day long, composting, getting it all mixed in and everything. So it's starting to finally look like my yard would look. You know.
What seed you putting in? What's going in first tomorrow?
We're doing some kale. We're doing some broccoli, some spinach, and some lettuce for sure. And that's all stuff. Maybe tomatoes tomorrow too. I know peppers. We can start putting them into bigger, like pots right now. I don't want to put them in the ground just yet. I still don't know what their winters are like, and they're talking about frost possibly Sunday. But I'm excited. I love this. This is my favorite time of year right here. Garden starting time.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of fresh kale, straight up out the dirt. Well, I'm envious. That is an exciting time. I look forward. I've still got a few months ahead of me, but good on you. We also have one Mr. Walter Johnson. Walt, I just wanted to come right at you. How you doing,
sir? I'm fine. I'm playing around with settings. I'm trying to figure out how to get the window for Zoom to stay floating when I go to other things. I haven't gotten that yet. I'm always having to go back down to my tray to come unmute to say stuff, but I got it. I'm excited. There's no point in me nannering on. If you guys missed it over there on the Ironworks this morning, it is there on the Ironworks area of the Truth Frequency Radio. You should be there every morning. If you're not, you're missing a bunch of fun. Me and Josh and Zach cut up a little bit. We have fun with chat. So get over there and check us out. Other than that, it's just been the crazy week we talked about over there this morning. So, but we have so many people. Let's move on to them.
All right. Well, we still have Adam. Adam's off work, home, relaxing, chilling in the shed. How was your day, Adam?
Crazy ass day, mate, but maybe mention some of the decompartmentalized brainwashing with our guests later on. Been a busy day, busy week, mate. But I'm all alone, and thank God, because for the past sort of few hours I've had no one to talk to. Marie's away in Italy. for some reason it was deemed I was incapable of looking after the kids, frankly, because of tonight's show. So they're away with the granddad, and I've been aching to talk for a while, but so I've a lot to say, so I reserve the right to have a complete flashback at any point about this week. It's been a busy one. I think I started it playing Adjudicator with Ranty and Baldy Gauss Cats. It was an interesting evening. I sat there not knowing what the bloody hell to do, to be honest, part of it. I didn't know what was going off. Riley disappeared. Just before I thought, "Oh, come on then, come on." He pretended he was going to go off and shave his head. And then came on looking like chicken licking, didn't it? So, but yeah, so a crazy week, guys. It's been busy at home and busy in the flat earth, really. Yeah, I'll stop rambling because I know we've got a lot on, and hand you over, Josh. Cheers, bro.
Well, then just to round out us fellas here, I'm going to very lightly and kindly say, "Hi, Mr. John Savage. How's your day been? Are you calm? Are you relaxed?"
I am. Yes. No, I'm doing very well. Had a nice day today. Actually, it's been taken out for dinner, so I've been nicely fed. But started week with a shocker last week. My plumbing with me.
That's uncomfortable.
My cylinder, I put it all together, finished plumbing it over the 3 weeks I was on my own, Adam. So I know how you feel talking to yourself and the dog. And yeah, I finally plucked up the courage to turn the mains water on, only to find out the internal coil in the cylinder is leaking. So I've had to rip it all out again, start all over again. So yeah. But no, good day today. Apart from there's something full moonish about it out there. There's people getting leery and punchy and blocky and everything. But yeah, shit happens.
Not just full moon, John. We have the lunar eclipse just days away. I'm sure that's amping up the lunacy.
Look, it's a super blood wolf moon lunar eclipse. I don't know how much more negative energies you want there. You might as well send the moon in retrograde.
What, the same way the sun goes, you mean?
Why not?
No, I think you're right. But yeah, it's time to have a duvet weekend, stay out of everyone's way because there's lunatics all over the place.
John's got a belly full of red meat, so everybody beware.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it. I'm ready to jump right in. We need some updates. We have Roxanne and Robin to give us our weekly update or bi-weekly update. And let's just jump right in and see what's been going on. Roxanne, Robin, how are you guys doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Evening, guys. I'm doing well. Thanks for having us on.
Our absolute pleasure.
Great to have you.
Things are going really well. There's been a lot of preparation the last couple of weeks. Do you want me to give you a bit of an update? What's going on?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you may know we've booked a venue down in the Midlands in the UK. It's called the Pioneer Centre, and I was there today. I was there doing another recce and just checking out the PA kit and just talking to the team and figuring out where people are going to go and how we're going to organise ourselves. But this venue is pretty special. It's purpose built for conference. So it's got a 300-seater auditorium. And then down in the other annex, there's another 200-seater auditorium. So I plan on the Saturday doing a double up. So we'll have our main speakers doing a morning, a mid-morning, an afternoon, and an early evening. But on the Saturday morning and sort of late morning, we'll double up. So I really, really want to encourage those that are sort of brand new to Flat Earth to come and learn. So session 1, day 1, will be a Flat Earth 101 in the second auditorium. And the next session will be held by Jason, who's agreed to do an activist workshop, which would be brilliant because just to put this into context, the previous 2 weeks, will have been the UK leg of his amazing pan-European tour. So we'll have got through a few cities, finishing at Birmingham just the day before, on the day of the start of conference. The Friday night will be the Globe Live finale. And Roxanne and Adam will take that as a big review, much like we did before, looking back on the previous 2 weeks and looking ahead to the rest of the tour, which would be amazing. I can't imagine how many people who have been tuning in, digesting the live streams, or really want to, those in the UK especially, just want to come and, shake the hands of those that have done it, come along, get involved in Birmingham perhaps, and then come along to the Friday night event, because we'll have an open mic, we'll do a flashback, we'll do some reviews, and then I've just recce'd the perfect pub, which is about 3 miles away, and I'm looking to put on minibuses to take people from the venue to this amazing pub. It's old school, it's Tudor. It's a Wetherspoons, and that means a lot to the UK people. Wetherspoons is a franchise that offers really low price of beer. So,
Robin, Adam will be able to ferry everyone back and forth in his Cadillac. That'll be all right.
Yeah, stretch limo for everyone.
I only do that for select flat earthers.
So I intend to put on a couple of coaches, with 48 seaters, a couple of back-to-back, shuttle runs to the pub from the centre. And then, we'll have some taxi shuttle runs back to the venue. I've just been sort of sussing out how long that takes. What's the venue like for an after a presentation event? Can we all get down there? Is there enough space for a couple of hundred people? The answer is very much yes. It's a very long, deep pub that goes back with a nice restaurant. It's got outside seating for at least 50, 60 people as well. So by the time we all rock up there, it's going to be such a lovely atmosphere, because we'll spill out into the outdoors. There's lovely seating out the back. So I'm looking forward to publicising that event as well, because we'll do one on the Friday and on the Saturday. We'll do shuttle runs with coaches, so people don't feel they've got to hop in a car and worry about their drink driving and all that sort of stuff. We can get people there and back. And just chuffed to bits with the venue, really, because the price point is so cheap. For 195 quid, we're able to sleep, feed, and get the whole conference done. Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday.
Robin, whilst we're on that, I know you've done loads of some bobs on price point, so maybe take a minute and actually just go through it in some detail, because there's some detail that you guys have made an effort to try and help people, because as we're all growing on this, last year's was driven by learning, and it was done in a certain place. You've found a different venue, which really does make this a lot more affordable for people, and I think more so, a bit like what Dee Dee was saying, affordable with getting together with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, my reason why for doing this is I love networking, and I love bringing people together. So I actually make a living out of doing that. So I've done loads of events in the past. I used to be a head chef. I used to be a restaurant manager. I used to be a bar manager. I used to bring people to events at property investment events and filled venues with prospective investors. So this is my bag, I really enjoy it. And for me, when I look back at the April event of last year, the main takeaways, apart from obviously seeing debates and some great speakers, was the community aspect of bringing people together. And what you don't value until you've looked back 2, 3, 4 months later is the fact you made some great friends. So I look back and I think, well, I met Charlotte there, and Charlotte just encouraged me to start a meetup in Bristol. And if it wasn't for Charlotte, I wouldn't be doing meetups in Bristol. And if I wasn't doing meetups in Bristol, I wouldn't be thinking, I need to do some activism. And if it wasn't for seeing Ruben there as well and get some confidence watching Ruben, and then connecting with Roxanne, I wouldn't have done some activism.
Shout out Ruben, legend.
Yeah, massively. And I think I met you there, Adam, just briefly. I think you were walking around with the camera as well. And, you know, the people I really connected with that day and those days was definitely Ruben and definitely Charlotte, because Ruben was there on his stall and you got a chance to speak to him and Cynthia, and you just get to know that person. You realise, crumbs, I'm not on my own. He's not mad, I'm not mad. we're actually all right people, you know. We can get this thing done together. So for me, this conference is about building community, you know. So I'm all about getting people together and keeping them together. And the one thing about going into a city centre is you pretty much have to disperse in the evening. Now, some of you might have a booking in the hotel itself, which means you don't have to go far. You can go into the bar and that's all good. But if you haven't got a hotel booking there, you have to move away. And, you know, you're also parking your car in city centres, which is 10, 15, 20 quid a night. So let's go through the price points of how this
Mine
thing
was about 50 odd. I think it was 65 quid, I think.
Yeah.
The weekend there.
When you price it up, cost of a couple staying in a hotel and doing the conference and parking and eating out in the evening and drinks comes to about 500 quid, I think. So moving to the UK convention offers all the food, all the accommodation, not the alcohol, but soft drinks, and all of the conference for £195. Now, if staying in a conference facility is not your thing, and I'm not gonna dress it up here. It's not a 5-star hotel, boutique hotel. It's more, how should I put it? It's more sort of
truck stop,
community residential. So you've got very clean and basic accommodation, and it's predominantly set up for churches and youth groups. So they know they've got heavy wear and tear there. But what you have got is everything is there. You know, you've got foosball, snooker, pool and table tennis, and a basketball court outside, a big football pitch. You know, you've got all of that on site for the kids and us as well if we want to go and have a game of football.
Robin, last year, mate, I stayed in a lovely room. It was gorgeous, and I've got to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that I paid a lot of money for a place I did spent no time other than where I had my eyes shut. So, you know, I think that's a really good shout, what you're doing. There really isn't a need for anything other than a mattress that's not got fleas in it, clean sheets.
No, it's very clean. I've been to see it today. But what's really great is you can actually opt to go book something local and just book a day ticket for 55 quid. So if it's your thing and you want to go stay in somewhere really flashy and really nice, there's nothing stopping you doing that. So you could book a Saturday for 55 quid, a Sunday for 55 quid, and for that price point, you'll get the breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the Saturday, and the breakfast and lunch on the Sunday. And what you're going to get is a packed out day of presentations, but then you can go off to your own accommodation. Now, for those that want to have a few beers on the Saturday night, it might be a nice thing to do to go and stay in the George Hotel in Bewley, which is where I want to have the evening event, because that way you can get the coach down, have a few beers, and stay in Bewley, and you can have a great time, have a breakfast there, and come back in, or get breakfast, come back into the venue and have your breakfast there. So for those that want a really nice boutique hotel or a nice, you know, really nice accommodation, there's plenty around. I checked the room price for the Bewley Hotel, the George Hotel in Bewley, and it's about 60 quid a night. It's amazing. So, and then the best hotel in the area is about 140, 150 quid a night, and it's really, really nice. So for those who want to do it that way, there's nothing stopping you. You still get all the benefits of the conference. You can go out and have a beer with everyone, and then you just crash out somewhere else, somewhere a bit nicer. So there are discounts offered for children and discounts offered for groups. So if you've got children, all children below 4 go free. All children between 4 and 11 are half price, and children between 11 and 16 as 25% off. And that's really good. And then if you book as a couple, there's a discount. And if you book as a 4, there's also a discount. And then beyond that, if you trust me enough to do a direct debit into our conference bank account, there's even a discount for that by circumventing Eventbrite, who take about 4 or 5%. So and you'll see that when you click through onto Eventbrite, they actually show you the fee. So where I'm saying it's $195 for a single adult booking for the residential, you can avoid paying all of that and pay direct into the conference account, which Charlotte and myself are joint signatories on, and you get another 5% off. I think it's about 183, 184. So
to move it on from the money a bit there, mate. You've talked about some of the ways in which your experience has organised this event. The thing I'm hearing, and like I said, I had a nice room last year, and it was pointless, other than me and Anthony Riley sat on opposite double beds, laying down mid-afternoon, chatting shit.
Lavish.
That was literally. But outside of that, I said earlier, you don't need much more than a bed, and genuinely you don't. And outside of you providing really good, affordable beds for the night, what you're talking about this year seems to be a little bit of a seed change. It's not just so much as a convention, conference, whatever that means. You're opening it up to families, and the area itself is enough to, because we've all got kids, and they might pretend they're interested in Flat Earth for an hour or two. But if there's plenty out there, as you describe them, with sports facilities and bits for kids to do, it really does open it up as a much bigger audience to attend, and not necessarily attend as we did last year, but join the kind of Flat Earth village that it sounds like you're more building for a weekend. And with that in mind, I just wanted to say, sod the posh places, mate. If that's what you're building, I would want to be on site, because that sounds...
I'm there with you on that one. I'm there on site with my kids, fully taking. I'm going to feel like it's a bit of a retreat and a get together and productive event all in one. If that makes sense.
I think when you look back at any convention, you think, I met this person here, I met that person there. I really enjoyed that presentation, but the value that persists. I appreciate. I learned some good things too, but the value persists is the relationships. And if I can make a space for people to break out in between, sessions, and give plenty of time after that, it's all wound up and finished. No one's going anywhere unless they choose to. You get a chance to break out, and there's free tea and coffee all the time, or water. You have free tea.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Robin. That's fine. Is there a bar on site?
Yeah, I knew you'd ask that. That's the one snag about this place. You can't drink on site. So that's why I'm going to put on a minibus to take us out. Yeah, put the flag in the car. Yeah, I've got a little siphon in the car.
Flasks. Flasks.
There's nothing stopping you putting something in the boot of your car and leaving it outside. There's absolutely nothing stopping you to do that.
I often transport a lot of alcohol in my boot, mate, so it's fine.
But the main thing is, we'll have a social. We'll have a social Friday night, social on Saturday. I'll organise some minibuses or coaches, and we'll all get down there with a shuttle run that will come back every half an hour. So the main thing for me here is building community. I said to Roxanne, right, when we started talking about all of this sort of stuff, this is, for me, it's about legacy and building community. I mean, on the legacy side, I don't want my kids to turn around when it all comes out about Flat Earth being, big lie. I don't want them saying, you knew about this and what did you do? I want them to say, fair play, you stuck your neck out and did what you could do. But more so than that, it's about building community. And I think that's what a conference will do for sure if you make the right environment for it. You know, if you have breakout areas, plenty of gaps between the presentations, and leave it optional for the evening. No one has to go down to the pub later on. Of course, most of us will want to, but you don't have to. If you're a family with small ones, I mean, Dan and Kelly are coming from Bristol. They got 3 little ones under 4, but they're all coming. I said,
have you learned from the last conference that
my kids as well? I'm bringing both of my children. They're going to be there for the entire weekend as well. So I'd encourage anyone who's got kids to bring them along. I think what we're going to do is we're going to be able to come out the other side of this weekend, and we're going to say, actually, that was not what I thought that was going to be. That's what everyone's going to leave this knowing. That was not what I thought that was going to be. In fact, you said exactly what I said to Robin in the get-go. I said, there's no way Jess and DJ are going to want to come and be around us all weekend. And then the way Robin was talking about structuring this weekend, I went, actually, this is no different from me going glamping with the kids, actually, except all we're doing is securing that we don't have to have mundane conversations with plebs. Love it. Sign me up. So for me, I think the dynamic of this is completely different in the sense where this is going to be something that I can advocate for my kids to get involved in. I'd strongly suggest anyone with children that wants to get away for the weekend and be around like-minded people and have a constructive weekend, as well as a retreative weekend, as well as a social weekend. It's almost like feeding, 3 birds with one grain.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to all the synergies of people coming out of a session and then spending half an hour breakout saying hello to folk, and then the evening when you're waiting for the meal, because the canteen is brilliant. It'll seat about 400 or 500. It's huge, and it'll sleep. The place will sleep 320, and it'll take 500 delegates during the day. So even if I'm maxed out with my selling of tickets and we get through to 320, let's hope we get that far. I can still go on and sell another 180 tickets on the day ticket basis, and we're still good. We could actually ram the place. And given that Gary and Dee Dee did 200, and we didn't have anything like the confidence in conferences at that point. And we didn't have anything like the sort of YouTube exposure and Facebook exposure to these sort of events. Notwithstanding, we've also had an exponential growth in Flat Earth Awakening. It stands to reason that we're going to get the same number plus. I can't see any reason why not. Each day I challenge myself, can I remove another hurdle that would stop someone coming here? And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make it as inclusive as possible and make everyone feel welcome. Even someone who's really tentative or, flat curious or just started looking, I want them to feel a big hug. The whole movement, the whole awakening, everyone there is just going to make them feel welcome.
Mate, I think Robin, you've done a grand. I think you've done a grand job that, and I think you've made a seed change in the people you're inviting. I think it's great, and I'm trying to get a mental change in my head, and the thing I've got is that instead of it being no alcohol, it's one of those new trendy restaurants where you bring your own bottle.
Yeah, stick it in the car, mate, and just pop out every 5 minutes.
Robin, Roxanne, can I just ask you? Someone asked me today to ask you what where you're taking this. What's the final goal that you're heading towards? I mean, presumably this isn't going to be your last thing, as well as Roxanne with the Globe Live tour and everything. What's the end goal here?
With me personally?
Both, yep.
For me, the end goal has always been social acceptance for this subject. And once we have social acceptance, we're going to be able to start to evoke reform, hopefully in a civilized fashion. And I think with what Anthony's doing by attacking the education system, we need to start, eating away at this from every angle, just chipping away. And as long as we consistently keep that chipping going, we're not going to drop the baton like has been done so by many previous generations before us. The baton's been dropped eventually. The perpetual motion of the publicization of the conversation has just been not, the momentum of it hasn't, like waves crashing on a beach. It's not been consistent. And I think with us, as a generation speaking, we've kind of looked around and gone, actually, we've got technology at our fingertips. We've got all of this, we've got all of the things to hand now that we didn't have 100 years ago, and we're utilizing it to the best of our ability. So I think we're doing the best that we can with the tools that we've got to keep the conversation consistent, everlasting, like it's not stopping. I think anyone that looks away from the internet for 3 or 4 weeks and looks back can clearly see the conversation still going. And I think we've now got to the point where I, for one, have become very disillusioned with how the internet's shadow banning, censoring things. I don't know what the outreach is going to from what it's not. So for me, going onto the streets was, from really quite early on, it was, foregone conclusion that the conversation was going to pour out onto the streets, but not just on a one-on-one basis, like setting up pitch and allowing people to come to us like we do when we're out, in numbers of 5, 6, 7. Sometimes we've been out as much as 12, 15 of us. But once you've got a few banners and a few notifications, a few optics on the street, people soon slow down, read, and then want to have a conversation about it. And I think as long as we can do that, you tell one person, they tell 10. Those 10, they tell another 10. Word of mouth is born. It's key. Word of mouth is everything. And I think, all it takes is for one person to go, did you see, have you heard about that? And when people like to stereotype about the internet, and as soon as you say, oh, did you see that video on YouTube? Everyone writes it off. Oh, look, you're going to tell me something from YouTube, are you? Go on then, what are you going to tell me? The earth for that? Conversation, when you have a human-to-human conversation on the street, resonates so much harder. And having those meaningful conversations, they're long. Sometimes you can be there. Anyone that's been out to Speaker's Corner will know that just one conversation can go on for an hour and a half.
Oh, easy.
Go through as many people as you can. You're trying to have as many deep, meaningful conversations as you can within reason, while you're standing in a place full of a few hundred people that are shouting about religion and shouting about things that aren't actually. And I don't mean to speak broadly about that, but I mean, there are people having arguments over things that they can't prove. They're not out there making any claims. That's one thing I want to put forward. Okay, people are always going to, have criticisms, and I think if there's one thing I would say is if we could maybe work together to help people, to unindoctrinate people, we do need some visual aids. We do need some visual aids to bring people out of thinking they're on a ball spinning through space. Like we need to bring their heads out of thinking on that mindset. And just the simple question of, well, how would you circumnavigate if you're not on a ball? To try and visually represent that to someone without trying to use a visual aid is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to make a disclaimer to people that when one uses a visual aid to try and explain circumnavigation to people on a flat plane of existence, please don't try and pin that as pushing a model, because as far as I'm concerned, I'd have to say that's not pushing a model. It's just trying to use somewhat of a visual aid. But if anyone has got any suggestions for any visual aids that might be helpful, please put them on a self-addressed envelope and send them to Iron Realm Media.
Well, what about having a competition to, for people to submit their visual aids or whatever that will eventually get made into new banners for the tour or something? I don't know. Sorry, Adam.
I was just going to say, while you took him, we've just had a super chat from second bowling issue.
Thank you, Adam. I was trying to get back to it. Thank you.
Right. Rene Kalutia, or Kalutia. Love is bombarding children's websites with flat earth. And we've got lucky enough to have Roxanne tonight. I thought it was quite cool. And before the show, seeing the future, Roxanne's very blessed to have children that are clearly joining her on this journey. But at
Don't
an
hide
age,
your own light, Adam, under the bushel, sir.
Oh,
You're doing quite a great job with your kids as well.
well, and maybe this is the difference that I was going to make. But they're at a point where they're ready to engage on this of their own free will, and they're very lucky to have a great guide with them. And I think with regards to children, it is a very interesting point that we raise with regards to them. We saw the bullshit with Gem Panda back in the summer, and he's trying to, associate with our children some way, having some strange interest in them. Very odd, very, very odd, and very worrying that he thought that is in some way applicable. Most of my my non-flat earth friends that I spoke to that about were very disturbed that there was somebody out there that, whilst they disagreed with me like they did, thought that kind of behaviour was in any way appropriate for anybody that isn't having their, frankly, their liberty withheld. So children are a very sensitive subject, is what I'm probably getting at. And like I say, Roxanne's at a stage where her children aren't really, one of them isn't a children. She's a young lady of her own mind. And they're the real hope for me, these people, not our children. Our children are, these trolls, like everything, give everything of real intelligence a lot less credit. Children don't have the bullshit in them. They're quite able to see facts straightly, clearly, and truly. And I'm blessed, as Walt said, that I've got two young boys that they're not interested in flat earth. They're young boys, for God's sakes. Yeah, they're interested in Fortnite. They're not even interested in girls. Okay, so do you know what I mean? Flat earth doesn't stand a chance yet, but they know it's flat, and that's all that matters. And when they do develop into young men, then hopefully I'll hand over to Rox, because I don't know what's to come. But you're at that stage, mate, and I don't want to sound all Michael Jackson, but you don't know the children are the future.
The truth. It is. It's the truth. It is. It's the truth. My kids are the main reason why I do what I do.
Man, we're having trouble, or I'm having trouble hearing you again, Roxanne. Darn it.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yeah, a little better.
I'm going to have to pull the laptop. I don't know why my mic's not working. I don't know what's going on with this app. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We usually don't have any trouble with this app, so unusual. It's Friday morning.
It's high and realm. Say no more.
What it is.
Robin, what about the same question to you about where where do you see the goal, the end goal, the future? Where does it take you?
Okay, I guess I need to start with why did I take it on in the first place? Well, the first thing was that Gary declared that he wasn't going to do it, and I thought, no way can I let that stop the momentum he created from last year. It would be a crime to let it go.
Thank God.
And I quickly jumped on it. I thought, I can do this. I'm not known really in the community, but I need to make myself known pretty damn sharpish. And I just got my skates on, started to think about it. I spoke to Charlotte in my local group in Bristol, and she said, I'll help you. And then about half a dozen hands went up and said, I'll help you too. And from that point on, Roxanne and I were starting to think about podcasts and things, and we were doing flat out activism through the summer. And I just thought, you know what? I've got the right relationships here now to actually kick on and create something, because at the time I probably didn't have all the right touch points to ask people to come and speak and what have you. But thanks to Roxanne and her amazing network and her networking skills, we managed to pull our ideas and get things going. Where do I see it going now? I've got this far now. I've got a blueprint, I've got a schedule, I've got ticketing platform, all of that sort of sorted now. I think where I see it going is building community and including everyone. That's central for me, because in that environment, people then go off and do their own thing. So John and Jim go off and do a laser experiment. Jenny and Jill go off and start a meetup. You know, Jess goes away and starts a youth group. Kenny starts a dogs group with Ted. Sorry, I'm joking. Private joke about our dogs. But what I'm saying is, I think you borrow people's confidence when you're at a big event. I remember how I felt before I went. It's like, I'm not sure if I want to. I'm confident enough to start a meetup. I'm going to do it. I'm not sure how I'll feel when I go to the conference, but when I came away, I thought, do you know what? This meetup's going to be really good now. I'm looking forward to it. And what you do is you borrow confidence from all of that energy in the room, and you come away with a flame lit. So I think my vision for the thing is to create the biggest flipping snowball I possibly can by September, with as much marketing as I can possibly muster, and generate the sort of energy that speakers feel speakers feel fantastic speaking, guests feel awesome when they come and go away. And I want it to be the sort of thing that's a springboard for everyone else's, next steps in their journey. I want them to gain confidence. I want them to feel included. I want them to just feel energized by the whole thing. And if I can do that and grow it, then and it goes well, then who knows? I might do a 2020 as well.
Well, that's a great answer, and it's a great aspiration. So I wish you all the luck. Can you just tell me when it is? September?
Yeah, so September the 13th is a Friday, Saturday the 14th, and Sunday the 15th. It's at the Pioneer Centre it's very close to Kidderminster. But if you just go Google Maps and search the Pioneer Centre, tickets are on sale now, so you can either book the Saturday or the Sunday individually, or you can book the whole weekend. I'm actually thinking about doing something just for the Friday night. If those that are just connected to the Global Eye activism want to have a drink and then go home.
Nice.
I'm thinking about.
And we'll definitely put all the links and info there in the description for you, Robin. So just
thank you very much. Yeah. So feconvention.com. It's a collaboration between Dee Dee, Gary, and myself, and Charlotte and Roxanne. And what we've done is what Dee Dee has done very graciously is allowed us to have our own page and ticketing elements and speaker stuff on that website. And today I was able to announce that Martin Leaker is going to be speaking. I'm so thrilled. What an absolute diamond this guy is. And Martin is just, when Martin spoke in April, Adam, wasn't he brilliant? I wish he had more time. And I'm going to give him a full platform, 2 hours, let him flow, let him do his thing. And he's going to do, yeah.
I think that would be at least the minimum.
Yeah.
Martin needs an hour to warm up, mate.
Yeah. But he gets, my wife came to the April one, and she's very much a sort of not sure sort of person, just humoring me and able to determine that moon landings are fake and so on. She's not willing to go all in, but she was there, and she really warmed to Martin because his sense of humor is lovely, and he just charms everyone. So
that's
not
great,
that, mate. He speaks from the heart. He doesn't speak from a script. He speaks honestly, truthfully, and no matter who you are, no matter what the subject is, if you're a human being, what he's speaking to you honestly and truthfully resonates with you. And Martin's a great speaker like that, because he also, even if you go back and look at the YouTube vids, just the vids, but if you were in that room, he engages with you. You feel engaged with him, and he's a top bloke. He's my mate, and he was one of the first people I met and chatted with. I got on one of his first live streams back in the day when Bob was doing the first balloon launch, and
brilliant.
And so he's always, we don't. It's a funny world, flat Earth. We don't. Me and Martin interact. Probably a bit like Nathan does with him. We're aware of each other, and we know where you can call on each other. But we've all got our own routes and our paths to go, and that's the beautiful thing. there's no contracts, but there don't need to be. You know, there's trust, and
absolutely
with all of us that when you meet people, and when we met Martin, when I met Martin, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We just looked at each other and there was just the hugest hug and quite a tight squeeze there. And that's the beauty of this thing, you know.
But what's I must connect Roxanne into this now. But what's amazing about this convention is it's just a massive snowball. It's one of the stepping stones in the tour, and so I'm sure we'll gather those that are just purely interested in activism but want to connect with those activists. Maybe just do the Friday night. That's absolutely fine. Come along, you know, just be part of the snowball that is going to grow. I can't wait.
Robin, when was the open mic? Because that for me, I did my open mic last year, so I don't have to do one, and it wasn't something I planned.
Yeah, so
it was a beautiful thing, and to give that opportunity again. And if there's anybody out there, guys, take the time to think. Even if you don't finally pluck up the courage to go up there, take the time to think about it, because it is a great experience. And through that, I met a lot of people, not to do with Flat Earth, but what I rambled on about with regards to health and stuff. And it's good. It's a good stuff. And thanks for continuing that opportunity.
Yeah, no worries. So the Friday night we'll do the review of all things activism. I want to include a musician, and I need to confirm properly. We've had an informal confirmation. Then there'll be some food, but there's no reason why we can't do an open mic for an hour and then all shoot off to the pub after on the Friday night. And then I've got a potential slot on Sunday afternoon, last thing, to do it then as well.
You'll get a lot more people on the open mic if you actually do it down the pub, I imagine.
Yeah. No, well, I've had to do another recce today because I want to see where we can have the social, but I found the pub. It is big, friendly, welcoming, nice outdoor seating as well. So
I think it sounds fantastic. I think you put a lot of effort and thought into this, and I also like the fact that you're boxing clever with Dee Dee and Gary as well, being pooling resources. I think that's what a lot of this lacks, is the organisation and the pooling of the resources. You know, everyone sort of seems to be setting up their own websites and going their own sort of way, which is fine too. But doesn't it help so much when you've got a platform already built and it already has people bookmarked it and all the rest of it?
Yeah, Dee Dee's awesome. She's really competent at all things social media and web design. She's given me a magic email address I can email a new blog post to, and it just pops up there on feconvention.com. I mean, super slick.
We know how slick and awesome Dee Dee is. Whilst we're talking all the website stuff, can you do a round out and maybe give some of the websites and the contact addresses, the Facebooks, etc., and where people can find it and extra details and that? Okay,
so the main website is feconvention.com, and you'll see a link for Amsterdam and a link for Kidderminster. Then we've got the Facebook page, which is a joint one called FE Convention. And we've got two Facebook groups. There's FE Convention Amsterdam and Global Convention 2019. Join the second one of those, Global Convention 2019, and you'll get all the chatter amongst the community and all the updates. And then just stay tuned to mine and Roxanne's channel, and we'll be publishing various promos. I'm basically getting all my speakers to do me a little intro, and I'll release those once every fortnight. So we had Martin today, and we'll publish those on all of those platforms.
Speaking of chatter and back chat, how have you been accepted by Flat Earth? How have you been taken? I mean, obviously you're going to get your cynical, miserable bastards out there who claim to be flat earthers, who just mock and denigrate everyone that does actually get off their arse and do something about this. But in general, how's the reception been?
I've been really delighted with it, really, John, because, you know, first of all, the Bristol meetup, there's so many lovely people in Bristol. They are such an awesome group. They look after each other, look out for each other. And then connecting with Roxanne, Harry, Jason, and the activists has been another delight, you know. I've just really enjoyed it. I mean, my background's sales, so I've got a really thick skin. Might come across as this sort of genteel sort of guy, quite, you know, wouldn't say boo to a goose, but I've got a really thick skin, you know.
I can tell.
I've been in sales for 6 years. It's water off a duck's back. When everyone says about me, I don't give two hoots. So I get trolled, and I give it large when I want to, and I just ignore them when I can't be asked.
Good man. Good man.
Quite simple, really.
What about you, Roxanne?
What about me? Thick-skinned?
No. How the reception from other flat earthers?
Well, John, can we come on to that subject before we get on to? I don't know, Josh. Have we got the other guests lined up, or where are we at? Because there is a topic that might take a while, but I don't know what the score is.
We have some time.
Okay. Well,
I'm in communications with Brendan right now, sort of as we speak. So he just got home from work a little bit ago. He should be along just, you know, in 2 shakes of a jackrabbit's ass.
Nice.
Well, let me poke the bear then. We were chatting beforehand, and it was something we'd alluded to when I think us guys first, or when I first met with you, Rox, in Nottingham, and shortly after that we had this announcement from a YouTube channel saying, "Oh, a new shield channel," and that was quite novel to me. I'm quite internet naive and all goes off and the likes, but that was quite interesting, more than anything. And you can sign it to history as it disappears, the insignificance of the actions of petty little people. But there's been another one this week, which I think is quite a little bit more significant, because it comes from Mr. Savage, and it comes from a source that's been engaged with these guys on Twitter for a while, and it's the language that was used once again to describe you two guys, I think particularly certainly what's going off, or not necessarily you as individuals, but what you're generating, and I can think of no bigger compliment, because that's what they're attacking, and that's what they're scared of. So, John, take over, pal.
Right, okay. Didn't really want to go full public with it, but it's on Twitter anyway, so anyone can go and watch it. But
you don't have to do it, John. You can keep handles out of it if you want.
I will. I can't remember his name anyway. So it's I retweeted your fantastic interview with Dr. John D.
Oh.
And what flat earther wouldn't be interested in a PhD doing actual experiments that are proving the Earth is flat? So
hold up, I'm not having that. I'm not on here. They're not experiments. They're fantastic, of the most zetetic quality out there. This is another show. We said before that we really need to get back onto zetetic observations.
So, yeah,
it is the most awesome, but it's not an experiment. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're done?
Not likely. Just wait. We had experiments. There was something else, wasn't there? Proof. Are we sure it's proof?
For tonight, look, this stuff's amazing. It's going to support us all amazingly, guys. But what we've got to be careful of, is not dealing in the bullshit that they deal in right now. We know better, okay? We know better. So whatever we produce, let's make sure it's produced not just for today, but for tomorrow, for the future, so that future criticism is already mitigated for, guys. We've been on a journey, and we're all at different stages, and we have to learn from each other, protect each other. Yeah, not attack each other, but to protect each other. But I've been in chats. You talk about unplanned shit. This is unplanned. I've been in chats with Nathan and lots of other people, and John's stuff is the dog's bollocks, right? It's brilliant. If we label it as science, it opens us up to future criticism and invalidation and having to start again to validate what he's producing for us all. And what he's producing for us all, if we label it right, is undeniable. If we label it wrong, yeah, we open ourselves up to just having the bullshit that we see now where they're able to deny it. Yeah. And let's
You were right, Josh.
You started it, but I'm glad
No, I didn't say scientific experiment. I don't care if anyone hears the word experiment and they want to imply themselves that there's science going into it. I just simply said experiment. But
incorrectly.
You done?
I'm done now. I'm going to mute. And
I was quite surprised to get kickback from a long-term follower, someone I interact with, since 2015 at least. I know Rob in Australia has been a follower and following since 2013 or whatever. 95% of this guy's timeline, I would say, I agree with 100%. But yeah, you've wound some people up for some reason. And I don't know, where did you want to take that, Robin? Sorry, Adam. Or Robin.
Yeah.
Or Roxanne.
What I was going to say was, when you think about how to sell to a group of people, you've got out of 10, you've got 2 or 3 that go, I'm in the first 10 minutes. The next 2 will go, come on, convince me. The next 2 or 3, you're really going to have to start twisting their arm and showing them a massive business case, but they might go in. Then you've got 2 that are going, I really don't get this. I don't know what it's all about. I'm not going to go in. And then the last 2 people will be hard-headed and on your bike and get vociferous with you. I don't see any point in wasting time with those last 2. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so if we're going to do a scientific experiment with John D and we're going to witness it, leave those last 2 to get on with it. Those are just the numbers. Let's not wrestle with that. That's just the way it goes. Let's aim for the top 2, the top 4, the top 6. Those that are going to say yes. Let's go for those, and that's the way I see it, because there's so many easier people to convert into flat Earth. We may as well go where there's easy pickings, low dangling fruit.
Isn't it funny how the criticizers are always the ones that have never done anything and will never do anything either?
Yeah. It's not worth spending any time on, personally.
I agree.
We'll wrap it up because we are getting joy. But you said, where do you want to take it? And there is one place I want to take it. And this is probably a bit more geeky than is necessary. But if you look at where John's come from on Twitter and the people he's engaging with, very, very interesting, Roxanne. I don't that John, can you give the phrase, you're not joining in with, what was the prejudicial group they tried to liken Roxanne and these guys to? Because it's unbelievable for me, because not only can I not see the link, but to actually make that link is, for me, much more telling than anything.
Well, it was quite bizarre. They've obviously been watching UK Column, but they described you as common purpose.
Sorry?
Common purpose.
What and that's implying what exactly?
Okay.
Well, you'd have to ask.
Common purpose is, if you look at all the way in which the education systems and the quasi control systems that are put in place are taught and given their script to read from, it's pretty much called this common cause, common purpose agenda. To put it simply, I won't go into much more detail than that, but it is very telling, Roxanne, that suddenly, as the most deflammatory comment that you could create, which is the most juxtaposed to your position, it is they're basically putting you in with the Illuminati control elite that actually derive the construct that we're supposed to live in this paradigm. That's what common purpose, common core teaching is all about. And I just thought, not only did I piss my sides, but I thought, we talk about the desperation they're going to.
Bear in mind, though, that it is one person and their unsubstantiated, unsupported opinion and gossip.
Everyone is entitled to their opinion. And
exactly.
My dad always said, you can only please some of the people some of the time, not all of the people all of the time. So I never try to please everybody.
Yeah. And sorry.
No, I was just going to say, John, respectfully to you, if it was somebody that was just popping up in chat you'd never heard of making that statement, you could forbid it for what you said. Oh, they've obviously just turned into UK column channel and learned a little bit. This is
I'd have ignored it.
Yeah, but this is somebody that you've engaged with intellectually over a period of time, and also Rob has. I don't know, Rob. Can Rob engage intellectually?
I've been dying for him to block me because he's one of these antsy little shits that just you see him on your timeline and your heart sinks. You think, what the fuck's he going to mince on about now? Who doesn't he like, or who's rubbed him up the wrong way, and now you have to disassociate yourself with everyone. He's just one of these people, and so. Normally I do ignore him, or I pussyfoot around him and pander to whatever grimace he's got. But today he picked the wrong day. It's probably the full moon, but I just called him out on it. I was like, let me see your evidence. Give me your evidence. Show me anything you've got. Just show me anything that will give me an inkling as to where you're coming from and why you're making claims about people online. You must have something. And obviously he had nothing and squirmed and ended up blocking me. So
defamation of character without any evidence. It's just public slander and defamation of character without any evidence.
It's just pure pathetic as far as I'm concerned. So I reciprocated the block, and I'm glad for it, because this particular thorn in my side can piss off now. Sorry, Ross.
I suppose talking about the things that we're talking about and doing what we're doing in public is part of the course somewhat.
Say again, you've got a bit quiet.
So yeah, I'm saying with what everybody's talking about in public, I think it's part of the course that people are going to not be happy or not like people. I think it's just...
Like Robin said, a very, very small, toenail shaving in the corner is going to be unhappy about it and determined to try and divide and conquer is all I can say. And
I'll tell you what, John,
there we go.
I've had shit today, right? And I'm not going to get into it now, but if we got time later, we'd fringe. Everybody's aggravated right now. I don't know what's going off. Pre-show, I'm talking to Zach about how I've kicked up with doctors. I've even rang the NHS today, mate, with shit, because I've had enough, right? I've potted it. I don't know what the moon's doing. I don't know what's going on, but everybody's fucking moaning and everybody's losing it. But with that, before Brendan loses it and goes, "You've ignored me for 15 minutes, you fuckers," right? Brendan, evening, bro.
What's up?
Hey, Brendan. Welcome back,
man. Thanks for having me, guys.
That's called a link, boys. That's called a link.
Yeah, but you ask him a question, though.
No, okay.
What have I walked into? What type of madness is going on here?
Oh, you never can tell.
It's Friday, my dude.
Hey.
Friday, full moon.
Hey, sorry for the mishap, by the way.
Look, here's what it is. We've got so many different time zones here just in Iron Realm that it's hard for me to keep track. We've got a show on Tuesday mornings on Truth Frequency Radio and on Friday mornings on Truth Frequency Radio. And we've got this show also on Friday afternoons. It's really hard for me to sometimes keep track of dates and times. So we've not even gone over why you're here alone just yet. But look, it's no hard feelings, because look, I get dates mixed up all the time.
Could I intercede? I hate to be the mud flooder at the back of the pub again. But
no,
during the past couple of resets, our slave master decreed a time called GMT. We all stick to that. figure out where we are based upon it. Easy. And then those that are telling the information don't have to time travel, because we've tried this for years, mate. Just stick to what our slave masters taught us. Go with GMT.
Right, Adam. And here in the States, we should all be using the metric, and all kind of fantasy worlds would be great, but we'll see how that works out.
Sorry. You see, the mud flood has ruined it again. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah, but he's right. Yeah, yes, you should. Well, you should be using miles, pints, pounds, ounces,
right,
pennies, stone, Fahrenheit, counts.
On the mud
Wouldn't it make life easier?
rods, thumb, whatever.
Isn't
I
it
was talking to a shortwave radio expert in the UK. This guy's got more qualifications in the shortwave department than anyone, and he was explaining to me how things were different between the States and the UK, and how frequencies were different, and bandwidths that the government allowed out and didn't allow out were all different. And I was saying exactly the same. Everything, isn't it just convenient how we can pass money around the world no amount of time, and all of this is automated completely. But can we even line our clocks up in time? Can we drive on the same side of the road? I mean, it strikes me as just someone pouring a bag of spanners into the whatever they call it in America, gearbox, trunk.
Well, it's just that same compartmentalization that you get everywhere. Just the more compartmentalized you keep people, then the more ignorant you keep everybody else. That's par for the course.
And one of the mudflood resets, they tore down the Tower of Babel. They confused all our languages. We don't all use the same measuring system. Come on, man, get with the program.
Yeah, it's clearly by design. Anyway, Brendan.
Let's get into Brendan. Brendan, you offered to bring a guest on for us. You offered to bring in Cynthia Holland because you made friends with Cindy about a year ago, you said?
Yeah. Maybe a little over a year, I would say. Well, I'd come across her on a YouTube channel, and I was like, oh, ex-NASA employee, blah, 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 blah. And I listened to her testimony, and I was like, holy shit. I mean, she was nervous. You could tell she was nervous because she was like, I think this was like her first time coming out about her story and her time working at NASA and what she had uncovered when she was working there. And, she just has a really brave testimony. And I don't remember how we became friends. One of us linked up with the other. Oh, you know what it was? She actually saw episode 1 of The Future of Flat Earth and private messaged me. That's what it was. I actually remember that day now. That's awesome. And yeah, she messaged me. She's like, oh, I really like what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. And, and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, this is Cynthia Holland. She's cool. I knew of her and stuff. She's like, I used to work at NASA, and she kind of gave me a little rundown, but I had remembered seeing a video of her, prior to me and her just interacting on private message one time. And she's got a really harrowing story. Great family woman, does the best she can. She, I think, in my opinion, she took an enormous risk coming out and saying the things that she did, especially being an ex-NASA employee. And she just got a great story, and we mixed up our Fridays, which is fine. And it's funny because so I'm running around I'm like, oh shit, these guys are gonna kill me. And so I'm texting her. I'm like, hey, are you it's tonight, right? And she's like, oh no, I'm eating dinner right now. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, shit. So I scrolled up, and it's next week that she thought it was, and I'm thinking this week, and it was just a mix up. So I'm like, you know what? I got to get somebody else on the show for them. So I text Roxanne. I go, Roxanne, what are you doing right now? She goes, waiting for you on Iron Realm. And I was like, you got to be shitting me right now.
It's a flat world after all.
I could not believe I couldn't believe it when it happened. That shit was hilarious. And literally was like, you could not have written it up better, because I'm thinking, she's over there doing her thing, and the Globe Live tour, and she's got all these links that I'm going over for her and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'll get her on. I'll fill her in for Cindy, and it'll be great. And I text her, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm on Iron Realm. We're waiting for you right now." And I was like, "You have got to be shitting me right now."
Welcome to the show, Roxanne. We're glad that Brendan could hook you up over here.
Now that is syncretism, Santos.
No doubt for you.
Only in the flat realm can this stuff happen.
Right.
You know what annoys me about that, Brendan? If you'd have texted, right, I wouldn't have spent ages trying to find a picture of her. Right? I've got loads of Roxanne, right, and I wouldn't have got her name wrong in the credits. Thank you, Walt, for saving me.
Oh, I saved it, but hey, we'll save it for next week and make it happen then.
I can get it wrong. All I'll say, Brendan, we said to Roxanne earlier, right, that because she couldn't get her sound working. If you're going to be part of the realm, got to be one click away. Perfection. Yeah, welcome to the bro.
Yep.
Welcome.
If you got everything working perfectly, just back off a little bit, and you're there.
Yeah. You got your shit down. We're not interested in. Frankly.
Yank on the wire till you get a short going. Knock over your wire, your speaker, something. Yeah. Disconnect your hard drive. You'll figure it out. You'll get there.
Brendan, what's been happening with you lately? What can you bring us up to speed?
Well, I actually did I went live for the first time since coming back from Central America with Roxanne. It was the first time I went on the air since I got back, except for that one little mishap I had with you guys when we got disconnected and stuff, speaking of Iron Realm Media. And so I never really got to say anything. And I was like, all right, whatever, tried to log back on. But yeah, I ended up going live with Roxanne. It was like two or 3 weeks ago. I'm horrible with time. I'm not really sure. But I've just been really flying under the radar lately. We're in this huge post-production stage right now, where I don't even have I don't know, I'm not even on the groups as much. I'm not really doing much, but piecing together how we're going to put this documentary and finalize it and stuff. And I've just been really under the radar, not really doing much. I even added a couple mods to the Future of Flat Earth to make up for the time that I'm not there, because I'm doing a lot of back end stuff. And I've also just found myself not flat earthing a little bit, because you need to, I needed to take a step back, and it was just every day, go. I'm at work, flat earth. I'm doing this. I'm sneaking at work to do some little post-production stuff. And it just, I kind of just said, hey, I got to just chill out for a few weeks. And that's where I'm kind of going towards the tail end of that, because we're starting post-production and all that fun stuff. So I'm kind of getting back into the groove, but I just needed to take a breather. So.
That's a good idea. It takes a lot out of you, this does. Sorry, Roxanne.
It was a well-deserved breather. I've also put the link for the interview that Robin and I did with Brendan in the chat room for everyone, if they want to hear that interview.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Awesome. We'll make sure we get that in the description. I say we, I mean Walt.
But yeah, just laid back, man. Just kind of doing my thing, and just kind of focusing on the family and stuff. Because I know once we release this, it's going to be the train. It's going to be going again. You know what I mean? People contacting me, people doing, you know what I mean? People expecting things of you, and rightfully so, though. You put your work out there and stuff like that. You got to back it up and stuff and be ready for it. So I'm just basically getting ready for that big wave after. So I figured I'd just kind of take it easy for the few months.
Now that we have this Zoom thing sort of worked out, we need to get you back on here and kind of catch up and prepare for this next wave, as you say.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the big one, because I even got that Mars footage that I haven't even released yet, and I'm going to add that as a bonus to it. And, people have been waiting for that footage to come out for so long, but it's just me and this other kid at Room Flip Productions, and we're constantly throwing ideas back and forth, you know what I mean? And we're trying to find the right place to put this footage, you know what I mean? And this is the first time we're going to actually have a narrator over a lot of the footage. We have a girl that's going to be narrating the scene at the pyramids. She actually did the episode 3 release trailer thing. That's her voice. She did such a good job. We were like, whoa, we need her to do more. And we've been kind of looking for a narrator, and her voice was just so perfect, so we're going to use her for that. So there's going to be a lot of narration throughout it, and then cutting into the live stuff and back and forth. And so looking forward to it.
That's awesome. That sounds really exciting.
Yep, it is.
I saw yesterday, I guess there was a huge culling amongst the Facebook flat earth groups, and people were just losing members left and right. I saw Future lost like 2,000?
Yeah, it was 2,000. So I had I was up working late last night or the night prior. And so I get up a little later in the day, and, I remember seeing my phone on the counter, and I go, I'm not even touching that thing until later tonight. You know what I mean? I didn't even want to look at it. And so I just keep hearing the thing going off and off and off and off. And by this time I'm in a different state. I drove down to Massachusetts to go out to eat with my wife and 2 kids. And finally I look at my phone and everybody's like lost their mind. I mean, I like literally had like 15 PMs and like people like, oh, we're under attack. I'm like, whoa. Next message, we're under attack. Whoa. I'm like, all right. So by the time I got through all of them, I'm like, all right, everybody calm the F down. We're going to get to the bottom of this. So I made a post. I'm like, hey guys, I think we might be under attack. Can somebody please figure out what the hell's going on? And basically what had happened is Facebook did a little sneaky move, and they took all their invited in members per group. Like bigger groups obviously had larger invite numbers. So Nathan Thompson's group was 15,000 lost members. And they put them into a different section. So if you're an admin, you can go into the members option, and where you can see, who the mods, admins are, regular members, and all that stuff. And there's actually like a separate column now for invitees, I guess you could call it. And they kind of just hit them all over there, man. So all the groups took a pretty big hit. So I mean, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. The train keeps on rolling. At first I was like, what the hell? And I was more worried, is this going to keep going down? Are they draining us out little by little? But then it just stopped, and I kept on looking at it. And then I had gotten a connect, somebody had contacted me from Australia, and he's like, hey, I think I figured it out. And so I kind of let everybody know what was going on. But yeah, it was kind of weird. And everybody lost their minds. I mean, people just need to calm down when these things happen,
It's amazing how frantic people get over Facebook.
Truth community loses their mind. Like when YouTube went down, I think I had just done the show with you guys in Honduras, and YouTube went down. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, everybody, listen, just calm down. Because if anything, if they are behind some sort of shutdown, or if they are taking members out or shutting down YouTube to see how we'll react, us running around like chickens with our heads cut off is not a good look for us, and it doesn't make us look strong as a whole. So I guess if I'm trying to make a point to people listening, when these things happen, just kind of take a step back and just breathe and figure it out. You know what I mean? Because more often than not, you're going to get to the bottom of it, and you don't have to, think that the Illuminati is starting Project Bluebeam or something like that, which is what a lot of people did when YouTube went down. They're like, it's here. People are literally looking up in the sky for fake alien ships and stuff. I'm like, guys, chill out.
It's great advice, though, and it's so true. People just lose their shit. We're like, in minutes, it's like, good grief, just go and take a walk, take the day off, whatever. Come back tomorrow, see if it's the same. Take your time.
Just because we're paranoid conspiracy theorists doesn't mean we have to act like paranoid conspiracy theorists.
Well, if the shit hits the fan, then there's not a great deal we can do about it anyway. So, yeah, go for a walk. Play with the dog.
Yeah. I mean, I've already kind of figured it out. It's not going to be like when the shit hits the fan, and I've always kind of stood by the opinion that it is going to. And I mean, at least definitely here in the United States, because they know we got all the guns here and stuff like that. So I just have a feeling we are kind of a target of people above us. But I think it's going to go down, and it's going to be like a day, and people are going to be like, all right, wait a minute, what's going on here? Nobody's communicating with each other. And I think by day 2, day 3, people would actually start picking up on it, that something serious is happening, if it's not directly happening in their area yet or something like that. But the last thing you can do, if your car falls into water, do you freak out or do you remain calm and figure out the situation? So I think and a lot of people come to me because they know when these situations happen, I either make it funny or I just tell them, hey, I comfort them, say, hey, everything's cool, just calm down. So that's why I think a lot of people had come to me to see what I was saying about it. And just remain calm.
I think that's a good analogy, because if you put some people in a car and threw them off a bridge into the water, I think a lot of people would panic the shit out of themselves. But then there are also a lot of people who wouldn't panic and would survive quite happily by, opening the window, crawling out and swimming to the surface. It's a different sort of mentality, isn't it? But yeah, great advice. Calm the hell down, people.
You gotta learn to feel that panic right in there and just do your shit calmly.
Well, it's do I panic and die, or do I think and live, is what it comes down to. As a scuba diver, I can attest to that in a number of situations.
Yep. Yeah, I think water situations is really when you see the best of or the worst of people. I grew up on water, so I mean, I'm not a scuba diver, but I've done some serious snorkeling, and I've swam the entire Rainbow River in Florida and stuff like that. So I love being in the water. But I think when there's a bad situation, you really see that the large majority of people don't know what to do. I was in a supermarket when I lived in Florida, and they're very warehouse-like down there, the supermarkets, and kind of like a Costco is down here. And lightning, I mean, this lightning bolt hit this supermarket, and it literally sounded like it got hit by a Tomahawk missile. I mean, even I thought it was a bomb that went off, because it was fire and smoke and everything. But there was only one area of the store where you could tell it came from. But I mean, this was the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life. And I looked at my wife. I said, "Get the F out of the store right now." And I immediately started going in slowly towards where the noise was. And people are running by me, tripping over each other, falling, screaming, dropping babies. And I'm like looking for a broom handle so I can go kind of see what the hell's going on in this situation,
Sounds like Black Friday.
Pretty much, yeah. But it was just like an emergency hit, and these people did not know what to do. And I was like, calm down, get out of the store. And I started walking towards the danger to see if people needed help, But I was kind of amazed at the large majority of people that don't stop and kind of assess their situation and remain calm in situations like that, being a scuba diver, you have to remain calm.
Well, that's right. I mean, the amount of scuba divers, or should I say buddies of scuba divers, have been killed by their buddy when they've run out of air or they've got into trouble or something. And, they know their buddy diver has a spare oxygen rig or just an oxygen rig in his mouth, and they'll come and rip it out of your mouth and take a gulp and all that. But, having run out of air at 40 meters down, I'm quite glad to say I didn't lose my shit and got to the surface quite nicely.
Good. Yeah, I remember a lot of people would not do that. A lot of people wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I remember the swim qualifications in the Marine Corps. You'd just throw, 75 guys in a swimming pool and have them tread water and just see which ones start to panic. You start dunking them. You start making them get where they have to panic, and you see who can stay calm and handle the shit and remember what to do. And you see who just flails around and sinks to the bottom, and you jump back up.
That's one way of doing it. Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, it was a different time. And even then, it was a different time. But I will say we had some things I wanted to talk about, but I thought with all the guests and everybody here, I wouldn't get a chance because we just completely run out of time. But I think we're coming up to the time we could hit a first break and come back and talk about some stuff that's, I would say probably flat earth related because it's still just sort of parenting stuff. But I've run into a situation this past week that's brought up a whole lot of stuff from my childhood and me being raised. And there's been a whole lot of stuff going on in my life that I needed to vent out. And I think that with everybody here, it could be pretty good. So why don't we take a break real quick? We'll play out with some gravity and come back and we'll have some therapy time for Josh.
Sounds good. Nice one, bud.
Great. Yeah.
See you after the break.
All right, sweet.
up pretty high, our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are chained to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me, they won't let go of me. Let go of me. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. So let it be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you while you defy gravity. It can be cold and mean and a huge pain. Our heads are in the clouds now. Don't let them make it rain. Smile can be the sign they're missing out on their rainy day. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you while you defy gravity. They say we aren't strong enough, we don't have what it takes. I say yeah, they're on enough, and we'll show them someday. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Oh yeah, don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you while you defy gravity. You defy gravity. You defy gravity. Yeah, yeah. At you while you defy gravity.